Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we are plunging into a really interesting snapshot of global culture, focusing specifically on UNESCO cultural heritage sites.
That's right. We've got this source that lays out which countries had the most cultural sites listed, specifically back in 2015.
And, you're probably familiar with UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Generally, those places recognized for having, well, special cultural or physical significance globally.
Exactly. But this source, it really zooms in just on the cultural side of things from that year.
Right. And just to give everyone the landscape from 2015, the source mentions there were, what, 31 World Heritage Sites total?
Yeah, 1031.
Yeah.
And that broke down into 802 cultural, 197 natural, and then 32 mixed properties.
So quite a lot of cultural ones already.
Definitely. And our mission here really is to unpack the list from this particular source. We want to see who was topping the ranks for cultural sites then in 2015.
And highlight some of the, frankly, incredible examples it mentions and just try to understand what this specific data point tells us.
Exactly. It's a snapshot in time, but a fascinating one.
So if you've ever wondered which nations hold the most recognized cultural treasures, at least according to this global tally from 2015, well, you're in the right place. Let's dive in.
All right, so the source counts them up. Let's start at number 10 and work our way up.
Okay, number 10. Kicking us off, according to this 2015 data, is Russia. It's listed with 16 cultural heritage sites.
16. It's interesting, given its huge size, it lands at number 10 on this specific cultural list.
And the examples given.
Well, the source highlights the really iconic ones.
Hmm.
The Moscow Kremlin and Red Square, obviously.
Of course.
And also the ensemble of the Novodevichy Convent, also in Moscow, which is quite beautiful, and the historic center of Yaroslav.
Okay. Moving on, number 9 takes us to Iran, with 19 cultural sites listed there.
19, yeah. And the source points to places like the Persian Garden concept, which is fascinating,
Oh, interesting.
and the Tabriz Historic Bazaar Complex, huge centuries of trade history there, and the Sheikh Safi Al-Din Kanaga and Shrine Ensemble, very distinct heritage.
Gotcha. Up next, number 8, the United Kingdom, listed with 24 cultural heritage sites.
Right, 24. And the UK list, based on the source, has some names that, well, you immediately recognize.
Like what?
Westminster Palace and Westminster Abbey in London, for starters. The Tower of London, too.
Okay, the big London sites.
Yeah, and then you've got the mystery of Stonehenge, the elegant city of Bath with its Roman history,
Bath, yeah.
and the old and new towns of Edinburgh up in Scotland. So it's quite a mix: power, ancient rituals, urban design.
It really is fascinating how diverse these examples are already. Okay, number 7 is India, holding 26 cultural sites, according to this source.
26. And the source really just highlights the most famous, the one almost everyone knows instantly, the Taj Mahal.
Ah, yes.
Oh,
Instantly recognizable. A global icon, really.
absolutely. Just the name evokes that incredible image.
It really does. All right, number 6 takes us across the Atlantic to Mexico, with 27 cultural sites back in 2015.
27. And Mexico's sites, as the source mentions them, heavily feature these incredible pre-Hispanic cities, just amazing places.
Like Teotihuacan,
Exactly, Teotihuacan, Palenque, the very famous Chichen Itza.
with the big pyramid, El Castillo.
Right, El Castillo, and also El Tajín, known for its unique architecture. These places really speak volumes about the civilizations there long before Europeans arrived.
You definitely get a sense of just the sheer depth of human history with examples like those. Okay, coming in at number 5 is China, with 34 cultural heritage sites recognized in 2015.
34. And China's examples, as highlighted by the source, they're often about sheer scale and, imperial history.
Right.
You've got sections of the Great Wall, of course, the massive Forbidden City complex in Beijing,
Immense.
and that incredible mausoleum of the first Qin emperor, with the terracotta army, just vast.
Wow. Okay, so we've counted up from 10 to 5. Russia, Iran, UK, India, Mexico, China. Now, you mentioned the source makes a really striking observation about the top 4.
Yes, this is where it gets particularly interesting based on this 2015 data. The top 4 countries holding the most cultural heritage sites were all in Europe.
All 4. Wow. And it wasn't just that they were European, right? It was the concentration.
Exactly. The source points out that out of those 802 cultural sites listed globally in 2015, these top 4 European countries alone held 160 of them.
160
Yeah.
out of 802.
Yeah, that's 20%. A full fifth of the world's recognized cultural heritage sites, according to that list, packed into just 4 nations.
That really stands out. Makes you think, doesn't it? About history, empires, maybe even how the listing process started.
It certainly does. It's a significant concentration reflected in this specific data.
Okay, so let's look at those top 4. There's a tie for third and fourth place, right?
That's right. Tied with 37 cultural sites each in 2015 were Germany and France.
37 each. Let's start with Germany.
Okay, Germany. The source makes an interesting observation that its sites are, generally speaking, recognized from later historical periods compared to, say, Italy and Spain. Ah, okay. Examples.
Examples listed include the really important Sinsel Museum Island in Berlin, the palaces and parks of Potsdam in Berlin, which are extensive,
Yeah.
the huge Cologne Cathedral, and the lovely medieval town of Bamberg.
Right. And tied with Germany, also at 37 cultural sites, is France.
France, yeah. And the source highlights some of its absolutely stunning Gothic cathedrals, Bourges, Chartres, Amiens, real masterpieces.
Incredible structures.
France also shares the belfries listing with Belgium. And then other French examples mentioned are the Pont du Gard, that amazing Roman aqueduct.
An engineering marvel.
Totally.
Yeah.
The Roman amphitheater in Arles, which is really well preserved. And then going way back, the Grotte Chauvet-Pont Cave with its prehistoric paintings.
So France, like the UK actually, covers a huge span of time. Prehistory right up to later architecture.
Exactly. It shows how the recognition captures different eras and achievements.
Okay, so that's the tie for third. Now, the top 2 countries on this 2015 list.
At number 2, very close behind the leader, we find Spain, with 39 cultural heritage sites. 39. And Spain's list, again, according to the source, seems incredibly varied too. It's different influences, different eras.
It really is. It includes the historic centers of cities like Toledo and Cordoba, which show that mix of cultures.
Like fascinating places.
The old university city of Salamanca, the huge Burgos Cathedral. Then you jump forward to the works of Antoni Gaudi in Barcelona, which are so unique, almost modern in feel.
Gaudi, yeah, completely distinctive.
And then there's the old town of Segovia, famous for that massive Roman aqueduct.
That aqueduct is just breathtaking, even in pictures. Did Spain also have prehistoric sites mentioned?
Yes, the source includes the Cave of Altamira, famous for its significant prehistoric paintings. So deep human history there, too. Plus the Alcázar Palace in Seville, and something really cool, the Tower of Hercules Lighthouse, which is ancient Roman, but apparently still in use.
No way, still in use. That's amazing.
Yeah, so Spain really gives you a cross-section, earliest human art, Roman engineering, medieval cities, Moorish influence, right up to near-modernism with Gaudi.
Incredible range. Okay, that brings us to number 1.
Topping this 2015 list with the most cultural heritage sites at that time, a total of 47, is Italy.
47.
Yeah.
It might not be the largest country geographically, but like the source says, its incredibly long and, well, profound history seems clearly reflected right there at the top of the ranking.
Absolutely. And just running through the examples the source gives feels like a grand tour of an iconic European culture.
I bet. What does it list?
Okay, you've got Venice and its lagoon, the Piazza del Duomo in Pisa, with the Leaning Tower, of course, the historic centers of Siena, San Gimignano, Florence, Naples.
Wow, the big hitters.
Right. And the historic center of Rome itself, which also includes Vatican City.
Naturally.
Also mentioned are Verona, and in Milan, the church Santa Maria delle Grazie, which holds Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper.
Just an incredible list. You can really see why Italy was number 1 in this 2015 data. That landscape is just packed, layer upon layer of history.
It really is dense with globally recognized achievements and sites.
So wrapping this up, what does this deep dive really tell us? Using this source from 2015, we've seen the specific ranking,
Yeah, the list itself.
highlighting that big concentration in Europe, especially Italy and Spain at the very top, and that really striking 20% figure just from the top 4 European nations.
It gives us a very specific snapshot, global cultural heritage as recognized by UNESCO at that moment in time. It offers a glimpse into historical richness, maybe preservation priorities back then, all based on this one source and its criteria.
And hopefully it gives you, the listener, a more informed perspective on this particular data set and maybe even inspires some future travel planning.
Could be. But beyond travel, this source gives us that clear picture from 2015. So as you think about this list, maybe consider what the criteria for UNESCO listing might tend to emphasize.
Right, given the types of sites we saw dominating the top spots, cathedrals, ancient cities, Roman ruins, palaces.
Exactly. And also think about how this list might have changed in the years since 2015. Have the rankings shifted?
That's a good good question. What new cultural sites globally might have gained recognition since then? Have priorities maybe evolved?
It definitely leaves you contemplating the whole idea of cultural significance. What makes a place important enough for global recognition? And how do we decide which places to preserve for everyone for the future?